Hey guys, SDXL finally has gotten the first QR-ControlNet models, and in this video I will show you how to find the models and how to install them, but also how to use them in Automatic 1111 before I summarize all the benefits and limitations of the currently available SDXL models for you. You need to have Automatic 1111 installed along with ControlNet. Should you need help installing 1111 with SDXL, then check out this video where you'll learn how to use Pinokio, which is a one-click installer, actually 3 clicks, which makes installing all kinds of AI tools super easy. And if you want to get an overview of the QR-ControlNet models that are available for SD 1.5 and 2.1, then I suggest you watch this video. To learn how to install ControlNet, you can watch this video. In the video description, you will find 2 links to download the ControlNet models. The Hugging Face link actually has 2 different kinds of models in various versions. This is the one supposed to work well with QR codes, which didn't work well for QR codes for me, but more on that in a bit. And these are models for optical patterns, as the author calls them. I would download the latest version of both model variants. You put them in the ControlNet folder under Models in your Automatic 1111 folder path. You will find the second QR-ControlNet model on Civet AI. You only need to download this version as it will work both in Comfy UI and Automatic 1111. The Stable-Difusion checkpoints belong into this folder and the LORAs into that folder. Now for the settings, they are pretty much the same as for SD 1.5 or 2.1 with some minor things to consider. You should select a DPM2 sampler and enable high-res fix by clicking on this arrow, which will expand to what you see on screen. Whenever you change the default resolution, you should make sure that you're using one of the resolutions SDXL was trained on. There's some good information about that in this Reddit post, which includes this table from the SDXL paper. If you want to generate images in 16:9, then you should use this resolution. Next, you need to expand ControlNet and drag and drop your input image into the web UI. Don't forget to enable ControlNet, and when you have detailed input images like faces or small text, then you should enable Pixel Perfect. Otherwise, you don't have to. As preprocessor, you can either select invert or tile resample, and then you can select one of the SDXL QR-ControlNet models that you downloaded. Keep in mind that you need to refresh the drop-down list if you are downloading models while the web UI is running. The control weight determines the strength of the shape. Increasing the starting control step and decreasing the ending control step leads to more creative images with a stronger integration of the input image. Some of you may have noticed that I'm not using a refiner, and that is because for most custom SDXL checkpoints that I tried, using the official SDXL refiner does not make a difference besides a tiny bit of more details, which you can see in this comparison that is switching back and forth between refiner and no refiner. The high-res fix, on the other hand, does make a bigger difference, as you can see here. The 2 images on the left have high-res fix enabled, which leads to a nicer integration of the logo compared to the 2 images on the right that have it disabled. Also notice the time it took to generate each image, while an enabled refiner adds about 5 to 8 seconds to the image generation. The high-res fix pretty much doubles the time it takes. This comparison shows the result of 4 different QR-ControlNet models, while the rest of the settings remained the same. As expected, the models generate different images, but what's interesting here is that the logo on the image in the top left corner came through really strong, while the one on the bottom right is barely visible. So the lesson to learn here is that there's no values for the control weight as well as for the starting and ending control step that work the same for different ControlNet models. That means you probably always end up tweaking those ControlNet values. And lastly, here's a comparison of different SDXL checkpoints, which obviously also leads to different results. But what's to note here is that while the pizzas look different, the logo itself always comes through in a similar manner. And the reason is that this is determined by the ControlNet model and settings, which remain unchanged for all 4 images. So there you go. If you download all the checkpoints, LORAs, and ControlNet models used in this video, you should now be able to create some really cool art. Finally, let's have a look at the differences to using QR-ControlNet models on SDXL compared to SD 1.5 or 2.1. The quality of the images is slightly improved, but what's more important to me is that SDXL follows the prompts a bit better, which means that you are able to create images that are closer to what you imagine. And you can use some very cool new SDXL checkpoints and LORAs. However, the models that are currently available are early and partially unfinished versions, and especially QR codes are very hard to get right. And even if you can get them scannable, they don't look very good. I guess we need to wait a little bit longer to create QR codes in SDXL. Just keep an eye out on the ControlNet models, as new versions will certainly improve everything, including the QR code generations. The biggest downside for me is the time it takes to generate images, as using SDXL with ControlNet and high-res fix takes over 2 minutes, which is quite long. I have to say though that I ran the tests on an out-of-the-box automatic 1111 installed through Pinokio, and I didn't look into any potential optimizations for the GPU. In my case, this method also needs about 5 GB more VRAM compared to using SD 1.5. So what do you guys think? Are the benefits of SDXL worth the extra computing time it takes to generate images? Or are you gonna stay on SD 1.5 or 2.1? If you want to, please let me know in the comments below. And that's it for today. If you want to find out more about my AI voice or the AI music I used in this video, check out my channel. Otherwise, if you learned something new today, please like, share or subscribe, and I'll see you next time.